Before starting this video, I would like to address a question that I am receiving in every single one of my videos in the comments. Um, and that question is, do I put pineapple on my pizza? And the answer is no, I do not. But I put it on my pillow. Hello, I'm Peter. This is Peterary Fiction, the place where we do not have the brains for literary fiction. Welcome back to another week, another video. Today I'm bringing back my series where I am turning a Taylor Swift song, Ivy, into a story. In my first video, which you should go watch before this, I created the basic idea of my story, how a spark comes to my head, and then I turn it into the main point, the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So in this video, I will tell you my process of creating my main character. But before going there, let's just do a quick recap of the story so far. So if you remember, we have a woman that is a river sprite, and she married a man, a human, and the river sprites were not happy about it. And at the day of their wedding, the man confessed to the woman that he is cursed, and the curse stated that if he ever married his true love on the day of their wedding, he would rot like a leaf in the fall. So that means that he would die, and the next morning he ends up dead. His body is buried outside the village, and a stone is placed upon it. The woman wakes up the next day, and her house is covered in ivy. Every part that the ivy touches in the house, it rots. And the woman has identical marks that the house has on her body. And every day she has to visit the stone, touch it. She is transported into the last moments that she had with her husband, and she feels his warmth and his love and his affection, and that lifts the curse for 24 hours, and she has to wake up the next day and do it all over again until one day the stone is covered in spiders and she cannot reach it, so she embarks on a journey to find out how to resolve this and how to survive, basically. And in the end, I decided that she is the one that killed her husband, and we will learn more about why that happened and what led her to that decision while creating the woman's character. So, without any further ado, let's create that character. So, in my humble opinion, the characters are the heart of the story. I have read stories that were not good, but I enjoyed them because of the characters. But on the other hand, I read stories that were very, very good, but the characters were lacking, and that ended up at the lower scale of my rating. Character-driven stories are my favorites. Being in another person's head, even if I can relate to them or not, it makes me think, it makes me understand other points of views, it helps me improve as a person because I am experiencing their way of thinking and learning about a character's past and what shaped them to the person that they are today while the story takes place is just amazing to me. The character's past will define their actions in the story and how they feel towards certain things that they will encounter along the way. I did not follow a specific process to create my character. The first thing I do is I try to tell myself a general idea of what I want that character to be based on the story that I want them to fit in. So I try to come up with a few characteristics, a few the vibes that I want my character to give to the reader, and I start from there. So for this example, for this story, let's say that my main character is very quiet, like she doesn't talk to people much. She is reserved. She doesn't want her business to be in anyone else's mind. And given that she killed her husband, the woman is very, very savage because she did not hesitate to do it. And she is fearful because some inner fear led her to that decision. She is also resilient because she fights to keep the curse away from her, and she has survived all these years until she is an old woman. Remember, the husband died on their wedding day when she was just a girl, and now she's an old widow. These are a few keywords that I will use while I take it to the next step. But since most of the keywords that I used to describe the woman are negative, I will try to balance that out by coming up with a few positive ones. So let's say the woman is very smart, is very well spoken. Like, yes, she doesn't talk much, but when she does, she's very good at it. And another thing is that she is self-aware. She's aware of what she has done to her husband, and she never justifies it in her head and to other people. So these keywords will work as a guide for me to figure out what the woman has been through in order for her to become those things. Again, these are not set in stone. While zero drafting the story, if I think that a specific characteristic that I have given her no longer works, or if she doesn't fit the category that I have put her in, then I will change it. I will not stick to it just for the sake of the time that I've put while preparing it. This is the beauty of every story. The more you work on it, the more it speaks to you. If the character speaks to me, they tell me what they like, what they don't like, and I will do my best to do their voice justice, because their stories, our character stories, are our stories, which they are the means of expressing it. The next step for me in my creating process is to come up with 3 different things. 1 is the character's past, 2 is the character's present, how they are during the story, and 3 is what the character envisions for themselves in the future. So let's take one point at a time. For example, the backstory is the thing that I put the most effort in because the backstory will give me the most information about the character's voice and their likes and their dislikes, and they will affect the plot, the character's agency, and even if it affects just a single piece of dialogue, then yes, I will include it. For the characters present, I need to know what are their motives for the story before it starts. What is their deepest desire in life? What is their biggest fear? How they are feeling about their lives in the beginning of the story. I come up with specific character traits to fill in the blanks that I might have before starting the outlining process, and I try to back them up based on their past experiences that I have already written down in the character's backstory. And as for the future, the character's future, it works like a job interview in my head. Like, I ask my characters, how do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Or what do you want to achieve after going through this process of this journey that I put you through? In what way will they change by the end of this journey? All these information is important for me to know so I can know how they will react to certain things that happen to them, and also what happens to them. One very important piece of information that I need is her relationship with her family. Let's say that the River Sprites work as a community and not as individual families. Everyone has their purpose, and every offspring has to fend for themselves. So yes, she has parents, the 2 sprites that made her, but they do not grow up together, and she never felt that affection that she needed. In order for me to come up with a backstory, I use the same technique as I did in the book story creation process. I ask myself questions. The next question that I will ask myself is, what is the woman's status among the tribe? The one idea that I had while coming up with an answer is that every time a sprite is being born, a new branch of the river is created and the river is expanded. And when the woman in question was born, the branch that was created went down a hill and it led to a waterfall, and the forest that was there received more water, and the fauna in that specific area flourished. And this is why the woman was worshipped since she was very young, because of where the branch that she created led, and she was responsible for that branch. Maybe there was a ritual every year on her birthday and people celebrated her existence because She saved the forest, maybe, but the woman never felt like this was her achievement because, let's face it, it wasn't. It just happened because she was born not by her choice. We're not born by choice. If we did, let's not answer that question. This is something that will make the woman try to actually make a change in the world, but this time she wants it to be her own decision that made that happen and not something that happened because she was born. In order for this to be incorporated in the story, I decided to make her make many failed attempts at making a difference and resulting in something unwanted. Like, for example, given that I want spiders to be a part of the story later, let's say that the woman made an agreement with the spiders and she made the water more friendly to the spiders' eggs, and the spiders then placed their eggs inside the river, and the population of the spiders increased, and she felt like that was the correct move to do, but it had opposite results because more spiders led to more pollinator insects being eaten, and then the plants and flowers and trees in general, they struggled to increase in numbers. So that was a bad move toward the fauna, which she previously helped. Another mistake would be, let's say that she wanted to bridge the gap between the sprites and the humans, and she increased slightly the temperature of the water in the river, and so people can come and bathe themselves in the river, and that way maybe their relationships will be mended. But these caused two bad things to happen. First, the humans did indeed visit the river, but they only did it because they wanted to wash the dead bodies of their people before burying them. So that filled the river with dead particles. And the second thing that happened is when the temperature in the forest was low, the increased temperature of the water caused a mist to spread among the forest. So it was a bit scary. And a third thing that maybe she did that was a mistake is she increased the flow of the water in the branch that she had, so more water could reach the waterfall and the forest underneath, but this caused the decrease of the flow in another branch, and she almost killed another sprite this way. All these three are possible, not all three can happen, but as I outline the story, I will see which ones fit and which don't. So we can understand that even though the other river sprites admired her, she gave them many reasons not to. The next question I ask myself, before she left the river sprites, did they feel the same way about her like they did in the beginning? The answer is yes and no, because she did try to change their perception of her, but she did not make it. Another thing she was asked to do, and she reluctantly agreed to do it just because she wanted their acceptance and their validation, is to mate with another male sprite. So another male sprite that might have a good branch as well, like her. The sprites believe that their offspring might have an even better branch because they were blessed. And she agreed at first to mate with that male sprite, but before their ceremony, she met the husband in the story later. In the middle of the ceremony, before it was completed, she decided to flee and she left the tribe in order for her to pursue that man that she met, and she throws herself on the man and abandons the tribe forever. Now I need some additional information to justify that action, why she left so easily. It's not a good choice to make it just about the man, but she has to have a specific, a deeper reason that led her to abandon the tribe. The most obvious choice is that she finds out that the tribe wants that offspring that she would have with the male sprite take over her branch, so she's no longer needed for them, and that they would throw her away or they would let her die. But that would not convince the reader that the woman is actually in love with the man, and that this is why she left the tribe, and not just because she fell in love. I will do the next best thing, and I will say that before the woman left, before the ceremony, she had a conversation with her parents' sprites, and they just called her out. They clocked her that she's not doing a good job, that everyone hates her, and that maybe that sprite is her last chance of redeeming herself, and that if things go south again, that and they are outraged because she spent her entire life being praised for something that was their achievement, because they are the ones that created her, so they should have been praised and not her, and that everyone around her hates her. And this was the last straw that the woman needed, and this is what pushed her towards the man. One more question before moving on to the present is how the tribe felt towards the woman after her departure. After the woman left, the branch that was hers froze completely. Like, imagine a frozen waterfall in the middle of the forest. It's a very nice picture, if you ask me. And they held a grudge against the woman because she abandoned that branch and all the forest sprites that live in that part of the forest. But since the woman had initiated the mating ceremony with the male sprite, their lives were linked, and since he was alive, she was kept alive as well, even though her branch was frozen. So this is the woman's backstory that I came up with. This is everything that happened to her before the actual marriage and the death of her husband. And now let's move on to the woman's present. How was the woman in the relationship that she had with her husband? I want her to be timid. I want her to be afraid of overstepping her welcome. She felt like this was the man's house and not hers, and she didn't want to mess it up. She felt like a guest in it, even though the man did everything in his power to make her feel comfortable. She did not talk to people around her because she did not want to give them any ammunition against her like the tribe did, because she had made attempts to make people like her in the past and it didn't go her way. She did not leave the house very often, and this was the first time in her life that she thought that she could consider herself as an individual and not think of the entire community on her shoulders. And this was the first time that she felt loved for who she was and not her achievements. She started acquiring new skills like maybe poetry or baking or carpentry. Maybe she helped her husband with carpentry and she made a living out of it later. And regarding her dislikes, let's say she dislikes eating fish for obvious reasons. She dislikes wearing silky dresses because they remind her of being in the water and she hates it. And she hates being alone. Even though she doesn't like people, she wants to be around her husband as much as possible. But the most important question of all is what led her to kill her husband. In my head, the woman was very, very disappointed in the husband when he told her after they were married about the curse. She felt like the husband had manipulated her by hiding that piece of information, and she was brought back to the tribe and how they had manipulated her about making her feel like they cared for her, and how they made her marry the male sprite that she did not want to in the first place. And it honestly felt like a trap, like she was doomed to die along with the man, and she did not want to die. She felt betrayed by the man that she loved the most in the world. However, since she never put herself first, she decided for once in her life to put herself first, and that's why she killed her husband on the night of her wedding so she can live. The next question is, how did she feel after killing her husband? She was a shell of a woman, like she never talked to people more than she did before. Since she killed him in order for her to live, she just did her best to survive, so his sacrifice was not in vain. She felt like she owed it to him to live as many years as possible, so she never did anything that put her life at risk. And this is why she constantly tried to avoid the curse killing her, because if she let it kill her, then her husband died for nothing. However, she does not again justify it in her head that she did the right thing for herself, and she punishes herself every day because she did an unforgivable thing. How do I show this? Let's say that in the first few days that the curse had manifested, the woman met with the witch and asked her about the curse and how she could get rid of it. And the witch said that if she broke the bond that she had made with her husband on the day of their wedding, that the curse would disconnect from her because it stemmed from the husband. But she decided not to pursue it and just stick with the curse, punish herself every day for her actions. The most important thing here is to make it clear to the reader that the woman did not start grieving after her husband died. She grieved her entire existence from the day that she was born because she grieved a life that she never lived, actually. She was accustomed to living like this, and this is why she couldn't fit in the world that she shared with her husband. The husband was the one that offered her these foreign emotions that she couldn't identify with. She never knew what love was and how it felt. She could not give or receive love. And I think this is what will separate the woman from the act of killing. Yes, she did it. No, she will not be redeemed at the end of the story for doing it, but we have an understanding of what went through her mind while she did it and why she did it. And finally, we have reached the future part. How will the journey transform the woman? What does she want for her future? What does she need? What is her biggest fear? What the woman wants the most in the world is to be at a place where she can allow herself to be loved. The woman's deepest need is to be able to reciprocate that love. The woman's biggest fear is that her husband died in vain and that the curse wouldn't kill him, and she did not have to do it actually. How will the journey transform the woman? I think what she needs to realize by the end is that she needs to take responsibility of her actions and to stop being so passive around everything that happens to her and stop caring so much about receiving validation from other people and actually give herself the validation that she needs. She needs to do something that she herself is proud of and erase any type of expectations of what others will think about her. How will she achieve this? She will defeat the witch, the spiders will go away, so the stone is freed. She will return to the river sprites and break the bond that she has with the male sprite. The branch that was frozen at the beginning of the story will be unfrozen and the water will start flowing again, but she will give up control to another river sprite. Since the bond with the male sprite is broken, their lives are no longer linked, so whatever happens to her will not affect the male sprite. The forest will be revived since the water will reach it again, and at the end she will touch the stone, she will be transported and reunited with her husband, and that will be a metaphor of her reaching the end of the story, if you know what I mean. When I begin the outlining process, many things will change probably, and many things will stay the same. One optional step that I learned at my creative writing seminars is to open a Word document and start a dialogue between myself and my main character for like an interview or something, so I can build their voice, I can know how they speak to people, and I can know them a bit better. It will surprise you to do this because the character will just talk in your head. So, to recap, the river sprites work as a community and not as individual families. The woman always felt like she needed a family and affection and love and everything. Once she was born, a new branch on the river was created, and it created a waterfall, and the waterfall revived the forest underneath, and she was worshipped as a goddess maybe, and the ritual was performed every year in her honor. After that, she wanted to prove herself because she wanted to have an achievement that was actually hers and not by birth. She made many mistakes, and if she wanted to redeem herself, she was asked to marry a male sprite. despite not wanting to. Before mating with the male sprite, she had an altercation with our creators, with her parents, and also she had met the man that she ended up marrying. So in the middle of the ceremony, she left and she went to live with the man, and she killed the man because she felt manipulated after he confessed about the curse that he had put her in a situation where she would die, and she felt betrayed. And given the past that she was betrayed by the tribe and the manipulation of the tribe towards her, she ended up killing him. And even though breaking the marriage bond that she had created with her husband would possibly lift the curse, she never did it because she wanted to punish herself for her actions. And at the end, she defeated the witch, she broke the bond with the male sprite so he can live. She gave the tribe the branch back, she unfroze it and allowed another sprite to control it. And she reunited with her husband. Insert unaliving metaphor here. So yes, this is my process of creating my main character. Of course, I will have to do the same process for each one of my characters that I want to be part of the story. Either they are main characters or side characters. I want everyone to be as fleshed out as possible. If you guys reached this part of the video, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Please comment down below what is your favorite Taylor Swift song. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel so you can get notified about when I post new videos. And I will see you with another video next Friday. Thank you. Goodbye.